Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for popping by here. And yeah, today we are doing part 3 of the Fundamentals series. And so just as a quick recap, of course, the first one, we talked about the matter, how everything is made of atoms, and atoms are 99.99% empty space. So what's going on here? And then in the second one, we learned everything is energy. And now we're going to take the next step, going kind of backwards. And just because the vibration creates the energy creates the matter. But we've started with matter to energy to vibration because we see the matter and we don't really see the energy. Of course, some people can, and maybe you can at times, but just in general, the five senses pick up the matter. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is that balloon analogy. And when we were thinking about it, we were saying that the balloon is the matter and the air inside is the energy. And the amount of air inside the balloon is indicative to how much energy is in the human. The balloon is the human, the air is the energy. So this vision expanded after the last video, and it was really cool because I realized, oh, this is how we can do the next one. And the first part was that it's very easy to get distracted by the balloon or by the body or by the physical, by that 0.01%. It's very easy to see only that, because like in the balloon, you don't see really the air. Like there's oxygen in the air, which we need to breathe, but we don't see little particles of oxygen. We just breathe in the air. But what we don't see is what makes us exist. And so I just love this balloon analogy so much. So it's with that air, it's like the energy in the balloon, and that's what makes us exist. That's what influences everything in our entire life. It's what can make us free. It can make us rise, float, and that's why we talked about the different levels of energy in the balloon, or air in the balloon, with the analogy of energy in the human. So if there's a little bit of air in the balloon, doesn't float. If it's half full, it doesn't rise. Even if it's 3/4, the balloon doesn't really get off the ground. It may kind of hover there, but it's never gonna really float. So what's important to think about this is we want to shift our focus to our energy, because that is what will allow us to float and allow us to be free. And how to get there? The key is vibration. So in this vision expansion, what I saw was an air compressor. And on that air compressor, there's a little gauge that we can consider the vibration or the frequency of the air coming out. And for example, say we hold each balloon to the air compressor for the same amount of time. So say we have it on a very low frequency, the balloon will have very little air or very little energy on the low frequency. We turn it up a little bit more, the balloon will have a bit more air, but it's still only half full. We turn the frequency up even more, the balloon is 3/4 full, but still doesn't float, still doesn't rise. And then we turn the air compressor to the top, to the highest frequency, to the highest vibration, and then in that time, it fills the balloon perfectly. The key is vibration. Vibration is what influences the energy. And when we think of the low and the high, it's not to think that one is good, one is bad, one is better than the other. We really come to experience the whole range. But the low energy is just, or the low frequency is not going to have much energy. It's kind of like when someone wakes up in the morning and they're filled with negative thoughts, fearful thoughts, and they just don't even want to get up because the energy is so low, compared to if you wake up and you're excited about doing something fun that day and you have all this energy to jump out of bed and go on your way. And so when we think about this vibration, we can think of this compressor as our thoughts. We are the consciousness behind our thoughts, but just to keep it as simple as possible, the compressor is our thoughts, the air is the energy, and the balloon is the human. So our thoughts influence our energy, which influences basically our life in full. And there are two base vibrations or frequencies, what we talked about, the lower one or the higher one. And the lower one is fear, and the higher one is love. And as Einstein said, and as many other people said, there are only two emotions, fear and love. So and fearful thoughts can be, there's so many words for fear: anxiety, worry, doubt, anger, the list goes on. And for love, we can think of joy, gratitude, presence, knowingness, trust. And so whatever thought we have is what is creating that energy that is either filling us or depleting us. So the fearful thoughts deplete our energy. So when we're thinking in fear, we're losing energy. And when we're in love, that's when we're gaining energy. And so when we talked about the balloon, only the balloon that's actually fully full floats. And what I was meaning by this is that when you take responsibility for your thoughts and your emotions, you're able to maintain that energy. But it's so easy to get distracted in the environment. Someone says something, you see something, and if anything you see or hear, you feel the emotion of fear about, all of a sudden you lose energy. So, but someone who is responsible for their thoughts and feelings, they can see something and look at it through a different perspective and understand that everything is love, because it is, and they have a fuller understanding, so it doesn't take any energy away. They keep their balloon full. And because their balloon is full, they're floating, they're having a great time, they're totally free and just loving life. And so, like I said before, it's not bad to have your balloon lower, and it's actually very beneficial to learn how that feels like, so you can know the differences. It's a contrast. And at the end of the last video, I asked you how full is your balloon? And you may say, oh, I have no idea. And if you had asked me that question years ago when I learned about this, I would have had no idea. I really didn't. But here's a super simple way to know. If it feels good, the thought is in love and is creating a loving emotion. If it feels bad, it's a thought of fear that's creating a fear emotion. So it's literally that simple. All you have to do is feel good. All you have to do is feel good, and you'll be able to fill your balloon. Feel good, and then learn when you feel bad to shift your perspective and to feel good again. And so really, it boils down to the simple fact of enjoying life. We each have a choice. We can either live in fearful thoughts, or we can live in loving thoughts. And we tend to make things so confusing and so so much harder than it really is. But that's all just for the love of the journey and the challenge and learning. But it's just so simple. If it feels good, you're gaining energy. If it feels bad, you're losing energy. So if you're going through your day and you feel negative, then you know, oh, my balloon is losing energy. I need to shift my thought, shift my environment, whatever you need to do to feel good again. And then you'll regain that. And I jokingly said last time, you know, of course we eat food to gain energy, and you can eat a lot of bananas and still not fill your balloon. And what I kind of meant by that is that if you're not feeling good, it doesn't matter how much energy you put in, you'll never get full, because this is an internal system. That compressor, again, is your thoughts. So it doesn't depend on anything outside. So the key is vibration. The key is your thoughts, either thoughts of love that give you energy and make you feel good, or thoughts of fear that make you lose energy and feel bad. And the beautiful thing about this is it's so, once you start learning to feel, it becomes very, very easy compass in this life. It's just that a lot of times we get in our head and we're very mind-centered. But when we bring that to we can think of it as our heart, our soul. When we bring that down to our feelings, then we can really start to fill our balloon and keep it full all the day, floating around, having a wonderful time, and feeling so free and so good. And that is the key. That's the key to health, well-being, abundance. And if we live in fear, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but if we choose that, then we're going to live in pain, in suffering, in trauma, drama, chaos. Or we can simply choose to live in love, which will be health, wealth, well-being, joy, peace. So yes, I will leave you with that. And thank you so much for coming to this channel and checking out this series. And I really appreciate the likes and the subscribers. That's so cool of you. And I really, really thank you. So thank you so much for coming by. And I look forward to making new videos for you. So yeah, hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.